It's bad enough that I have it. I had to pull down my sweatpants and my underwear down so they could see, this bag that she had in her pants, this medical bag. Another grandmother with a metal knee implant says she was touched all over, felt molested, wanted to take a shower afterwards. A 61-year-old retired special education teacher had an issue with his urostomy bag when he was patted down, which ended in him having urine all over his legs and pants. The TSA agent didn't even acknowledge that he had caused the urine to be spilled all over his body, sending him on his way to the flight. Of course, none of these people are terrorists, not even close. Back in June, a 95-year-old woman with cancer forced to remove her adult diaper. I think that was the case where it was leaking. A female cancer survivor was required to show her prosthetic breast. A 71-year-old man with knee replacement surgery had his pants forcibly ripped off. A 94-year-old woman pulled out of line, publicly molested by TSA agents at Raleigh Durham International. They groped her all over her body. Another cancer survivor treated at JFK Airport in New York was asked to step aside and have her breast area examined. She was a breast cancer patient and had bilateral mastectomy in April and tissue expanders put in the way to make reconstruction at a later date. Just no recognition at all of the very essence of the country we're supposed to protect, to preserve the way of life, give everyone the best opportunity under our Constitution and freedom of rights. Instead, everyone's subjected to it. Why do they do these things? It all has to do with that indefinite detention stuff. They're getting us ready to all be treated like slaves no matter what. Now, if the economy breaks down and there's civil unrest anywhere, I would imagine we're going to be treated this way just absolutely anywhere in public. Streets, malls, you name it. They've all talked about it. Now, in other news, a school in the UK has turned off the heat to, quote, save the planet. Head Rob Benzie switched off the radiators to show how the secondary school could cut down on its carbon footprint. He said it was an experiment and that it was successful. A lot of the parents and teachers were outraged, but I guess we can expect to see more of that. Now, meanwhile, in Spain, toilet paper restrictions are imposed on school children under the latest austerity cuts. You notice how the stuff to save the environment is the same kind of things they do under austerity, just always giving you less, keeping you from being able to consume or do basic stuff like use toilet paper, the stuff that happens in communist countries. I've heard firsthand accounts in places like Cuba where you can't even buy toilet paper because of the way the country is controlled and the other issues there. Just disgusting. Firefighters watch as couple's home burns to the ground because they hadn't paid a $75 subscription fee. That happened in Tennessee, but the mayor said there's no exceptions and they refused to put out the fire. I've heard other cases like this. The woman told local TV station WPSD 911 said the fire department were in fact dispatched and they showed that they were on the scene. You could look out my mom's trailer and see the truck sitting at a distance. On the South Fulton Fire Department website, their mission statement reads that the mission is to protect the lives and property of its citizens, but only if you pay the fee, and provide good public relations through fire safety education to all businesses and schools. And it goes on to describe how the home of Jean Cranick, who also lives outside the city limits, burned down last October. She had forgotten to pay the fee and begged the firemen with money to put out the fire, but they refused. Now, why couldn't they just give some kind of punitive fee after the fact rather than actually letting the home or trailer or whatever the case may be burn down? Seems a bit extreme, but then again, if you look at the history of fire departments, back in the Roman days, it was basically an organized mafia where if you didn't pay the fee, they would burn your house down on purpose. You probably also remember back in the early days of New York City, as depicted in Gangs of New York, volunteer forces were a threat unto themselves. While they posed as firefighters, they allowed buildings to burn, and firefighters recruited volunteers from street gangs who then brawled and beat up rivals in other companies rather than putting out the fire. I think we have a clip from that now. Now, we have some breaking news coming up after this short break on Fast and Furious, but first I want to remind you we have a holiday special going on for PRISONPLANET.TV memberships. It's one of the best ways you can help fund this operation and get out our message to as many people as possible. We're trying to reach TV platforms and a whole lot more. You can get really good discounts on that, and there's another discount where you can get it with 18 packaged DVDs in the plastic wrap and everything. perfect way to give presents this holiday season by giving information rather than plastic junk you get from somewhere that was made in China, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, $39.95 for the yearly subscription. You could share it with 5 people. $129.95 for the subscription that you could share with 18 DVDs you can give or watch yourself. So we'll be back after this break. Of course, we have an exclusive interview Alex did with Austin Police Chief Art Acevedo as well, coming up.
What's up with these sorry politicians? Lots of bark. When it's showtime, whimpering like little shih tzus. You want big cuts. Ron Paul's been screaming it for years. Budget crisis? No problem. Got $1 trillion year one. That's trillion with a T. Department of Education? Gone. Interior, Energy, HUD, Commerce? Gone. Later, bureaucrats. That's how Ron Paul rolls. Want to drain the swamp? Ron Paul. Do it.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the INFOWARS store at INFOWARS.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe INFOWARS t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at INFOWARS.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at INFOWARS.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. INFOWARS.com.
Aaron Dykes back on the INFOWARS Nightly News. As I mentioned, we do have the Art Acevedo exclusive interview coming up. But first, we have breaking news. Paul Joseph Watson writes, confirmed ATF plotted to use Fast and Furious to demonize the Second Amendment. ATF created the problem so they could be the solution to it, the old Hegelian formula. As we postulated when the scandal broke, the Fast and Furious program that saw the same ATF deliver guns into the hands of Mexican drug gangs was admittedly exploited to demonize the Second Amendment and push new gun control regulations. Documents obtained by CBS News show the BATF discussed using their covert operation Fast and Furious to argue for controversial new rules about gun sales. And then we have those CBS documents now where they discuss how they've uncovered, the connection to these gun rules. Bill, you could see if these guns were all purchased from the same licensed gun dealer and at one time. We are looking at anecdotal cases to support a demand letter on long gun multiple sales. Thanks. So, of course, they cannot demonize and do away with the Second Amendment all in one blow, as it's a fundamental right, number 2 in the list of Bill of Rights under the Constitution, not supposed to be violated under any conditions. Yet they want to whittle away at it, erode it. You saw where they tried to make the 4 border states comply with purchases of more than 2 guns, reporting a 2-page sheet on all the buyer's details. Meanwhile, they knowingly put the guns into the Mexican drug gangs' hands. They knowingly allow these cartels to ship in the drugs with cover and everything. Just disgusting what goes on in this government. And we knew all along they were using this to try to target the Second Amendment. There's Obama's quotes with the Brady campaign talking about going after the Second Amendment by stealth and so forth and so on. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll, of course, have more information on it tomorrow. Alex will be back live on the radio. Meanwhile, the Saudi prince has called for the kingdom to acquire WMDs and, moreover, wants a unified armed force and defense structure for the entire Gulf Cooperation Council, which is pretty much the entire peninsula minus Yemen. Ben Turkey told his audience, why shouldn't we commence the building of a unified military force with a clear chain of command? But if our efforts and the efforts of the world community fail to bring about the dismantling of the Israeli arsenal of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, and from preventing Iran acquiring the same, then why shouldn't we at least seriously study all available options, including acquiring WMDs, so our future generations will not blame us for neglecting any courses of action that will keep looming dangers away from us? That's somewhat sensible, I suppose. Everyone has a right to defense. Of course, we don't want to see the region go further into flames or escalate into a World War III scenario. Now, if we're going to go after Iran for developing nuclear energy, why don't we go after Bill Gates, who's going nuclear with China? in a new plan to use depleted uranium. His company, Terror Power, says its traveling wave reactor would run for decades on depleted uranium and produce significantly smaller amounts of nuclear waste than conventional reactors. All these new designs are going to be incredibly safe, Gates told the audience. They require no human action at all to remain safe at all times. So let's let a billionaire run free and unilaterally, geoengineer the planet. Push GMO on Africa and all regions of the world, run a seed bank in the Arctic, and then sell nuclear power to China, stuff that wouldn't be legally allowed in the United States, and say, oh, I hope for the best, it's always going to be safe. Well, why don't we put sanctions on his foundation and his splinter companies and go after him instead of Iran? I'd sleep better at night that way anyway. In other news, this was a few days ago, but we didn't cover it, how microchip jerseys are changing hockey fans' experience. This year, the Tampa Bay Lightning introduced a replica team jersey equipped with the radio frequency chip embedded in the sleeve that fans can scan at stadium stores to receive discounts on refreshments and team merchandise for all season ticket holders. The promotion has worked. It helped spur a near twofold increase in season ticket sales this year. The chip isn't the only difference in the new exclusive jerseys. They also have a patch identifying wearers as season ticket members and giving the most loyal fans the options to personalize their jerseys with custom names and numbers. Ooh, very trendy. Meanwhile, each chip also has a unique ID allowing the team to track who buys what. So there you have it. Once again, under the guise of bread and circuses, they bring in the police state. I guess what else do you expect? It's all very trendy. Of course, that's how it's always been. Alex was reporting on the nightclubs and whatnot that were doing VIP RFID chips implanted under the skin that people took voluntarily to get in the cooler parts of these clubs. Ooh, it's glamorous. Sham press event to promote glamorous B system. And Alex said it doesn't get any more bone-chilling than this. They're going to sell microchips as the ultimate in trendiness. And now we have the exclusive, very trendy team jerseys with the microchips in there. Nice graphic, by the way. RFID gets under the skin from 2006, bringing up how access control and security systems said the United States is behind in embracing the technology, not trendy enough. For example, workers at the Organized Crime Division of Mexico's Attorney General's office in Mexico City use VeriChip for access control to high-level security areas. Some 50 state employees had them implanted. Go figure. Meanwhile, another kind of futuristic thing has come home to roost. Gizmodo reports that this man had his thumb replaced by his toe. The operation was a success, although he still can't fully move the thumb naturally. I can bend it, but I hope to be able to do so soon. It rotates, and I can give it a good wiggle. I'm so pleased that I had it done. It's just such a